Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Two stars rose in the dawning light. Nikki and Abigail lies on the night. Charting the heavens, the constellations true. Not bound by illusion, but by what's in view. But they whispered of summer, of gods in the flame, of Banana and Inky who called them by name. Through shadows of dogma, they carry the spark, guided by starlight to rekindle the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As there are rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As there are rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Yeah. Maps redrawn where the cosmos spins through silence and science. Their song begins, no longer chained to the seasons, the skies. They brought back the truth in the watcher's eyes. The circle was broken, the truth made whole. With courage and reason, they honored the soul. For those who would seek what the ancients knew, the real sky speaks and the stars. Inside our real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As there are rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As there are rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Through cuneiform echoes and lunar signs, through Babylon's gates and forgotten lines, they lifted the veil with a steady hand. Two seas reborn to reclaim the land. Under the real sky, the vision's clear. The sidereal call for all to hear. As I rising with radiant mind, truth reborn in the ancient light. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, under the real sky,
I don't have it in me to just not dance. I'm like back here like, just keep going. Welcome everyone to the second episode ever of Sidereal Rising podcast. We have a very special guest today. Dr. Rumen Kolev is with us. We're going to be talking about Babylonian astrology. This should hopefully pair well in sequence to the Sumerian astrology episode we did last time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nikki, and you can back me up on this, Dr. Danny is going to be doing our Hellenistic astrology episode in the coming week. So if you guys are new here, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. We got a really cool schedule coming up. So we don't want to weigh you down here with all of the awesome information. There's a ticker down there. There's stuff in the video description. We got it all. So check that out. But why don't we jump right in today, Dr. Kolev? We're so excited to have you. I don't even know like where to start. Nikki, did you have anything? Did you want to?
Wow. No, yeah, I'm kind of, I'm very excited. I keep losing my, my mind actually. It's just my brain just keeps falling out and I got to pick it up and put it back in. But I've been doing some research on your work and it's absolutely incredible. And you have some really cool correlations with Abby's work too, because what I was looking at, what I thought was really, really cool is that you believe the Babylonians preserved a star map that's like 4,000 plus years older than themselves. So they inherited this information from a previous civilization. And you've actually gone through and done a lot of work looking at heliacal rising stars, all the going over all the tablets, the astrolabes. I mean, it's an incredible amount of work that you've done, and it's amazing. And I was just wondering how this journey for you began. Like, what is it about this type of astrology that spurred you to do this much digging and this much work? Because I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, you turned it into a software program, you educate. I mean, you're kind of on the ground floor of sidereal astrology, and you've been at it for a lot longer than I have. So I'm just curious, where did your journey begin, and how did you reach that point where you're like, that's it, I have to do something, I have to figure this out? It's like a rabbit hole you fell down. Pretty awesome one, actually.
Yes, actually, I started pretty early with astronomy and with astrology. When maybe I was, let's say, 13 years old. Yeah, so I started reading everything that I can get in my hands, and it was not much actually, because in this time it was communist Bulgaria. It was a totalitarian state, and everything was illegal and forbidden except the Bulgarian Communist Party. So, and
Get it.
I had, yeah, and I had problems. Also, some of my friends had big problems with the secret police. So, well, they will not put them in prison, but they will go and take everything that they have. All books they will confiscate, and then they will threaten them, and also me too. They'll threaten us, but not something too serious, So it was okay.
It's interesting times.
Very, very, very interesting, because actually in such times you can see who is who, right? Like you can see who is very afraid and who is not afraid, and you can see who has this real interest, so that to risk his status in society. So this was a real times, but it's okay now. It's okay too. So I started then with anything that I can read. Also, when I was, let me see, 16 years old, I was in this astronomy society club in Varna, in the observatory. So we watch stars and meteor showers and the sun, the moon, planets, everything. And this was actually the real sky. We were watching the real sky. And then later, I was probably, let me think, somewhere, I think probably 17 years old, 17, 18 years old, when I had this, I made this connection with one underground society, which was a cult. They were they were actually in a cult kind of spiritual, different kinds of schools. So all kinds of people were in this kind of underground society.
Like an esoteric society, right? Yeah.
Yes. And here Bulgaria had a very good tradition in this, because there was one spiritual guru in the beginning of the 20th century, like 120 years ago, Peter Dunov, or Peter Dunov. Sometimes that's how they spell his name, and he did a lot of work in spreading this secret knowledge and astrology also. So I made connection when I was 17, 18 years old with these people, and it was secret, it was underground, but also they had many materials, many books, and I started reading everything, and also making copies of this forbidden books.
Yeah, which makes you want to just like drink it up when you know it's forbidden, when you know you're not allowed to like look at it, touch it, or anything. It makes you want it more, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is more delicious. Definitely. Some is that. These were books which they call some is that, which means people were typing them on a typewriter in five copies, and so yeah. So when I was like 18 years old, I started much more serious work because I had this access to this knowledge. Uh, but particularly with Babylonian astrology, it was later that when I started. I actually, let me think, when was that? Well, this was somewhere in 1997. In this time, I had my first version of my computer program, which is Placidus called, and it was mainly for primary directions. So one lady from Switzerland called me and ordered the program. And the interesting thing was that she was Bulgarian also, Bulgarian lady, and actually she before she moved to Switzerland, she lived in one district of my own city, Varna. I don't know her personally, actually, but she ordered this program, and she was a PhD student in Assyriology.
Ah.
I think in Bern, yeah. And she started sending me tons of books, of materials, of these classes where she studied. She copied all the materials in her classes, and she was sending me. And I read this. I read actually everything, and the more I read, the more interesting it became. And then I started serious work on this. I started studying Sumerian, Akkadian in this time. So I learned a little bit, like astronomical texts. I can read. Well, I'll need time, of course, because you must check every sign, everything. But astrology is much easier than to read Gilgamesh. No,
Yeah.
so
I find it's the opposite. See, I can read the myths, and I really enjoy going into them. But the actual astronomical texts, like the mathematical text, anything with numbers and coordinates, I'm like, oh, I don't like to do it in English, let alone in Sumerian. So, but yeah,
well,
that shows what you go with what interests you. So yeah.
it is definitely mythology. It is definitely very, very connected with astrology. Actually, the myths themselves, I believe, they come from the sky, from our observation of the sky. That's where I believe the myth come. And actually, recently I came to the conclusion that these myths, of course, they are sourced from the sky, and important thing is that they play out on the sky in every moment, in different periods. Different myths play out in the sky, and when someone is born, we can see in the chart which myths actually are played out in this horoscope. And we can even see, because the myth is a story. It is a story. It has words and pages, and we can even see on which page and on which row is this given horoscope. So maybe I figured out probably, I don't know exactly, but maybe 10, 20 myths, very, very in detail. Like the Sumerian myth of um, of Nergal going to the underworld.
That's one of my favorite stories, actually. That's one of my favorite myths.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go back, and then he goes back, and he has a really good time. That's like one of my favorites.
And actually, Eresh Kigal, the queen of the underworld, and Nergal, how actually Nergal became the king of the underworld. So he went there two times. Two times. The first time he escaped. Well, the first time he did a lot of things that Enki Ea told him not to do, right? But he nevertheless did it because he's Nergal. Nergal is a rebel. He doesn't listen to anyone. Mars. So he had some affair with Eresh Kigal, which he was not supposed to do, and then he escaped, from from Eresh Kigal up
He
there into
dipped.
the sky.
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah, and but Eresh Kigal was very, very angry, so she called Anu and told him, "Hey, look, this guy slept with me. I have him as my husband. Bring it here down to me forever." So the story goes like this. But then I thought, okay, what will this be on the sky? Okay, Eresh Kigal definitely will be Venus invisible. She goes invisible. She is in the underworld. Then Mars, Nergal, to go to the underworld, he also must be invisible. So when both of them are invisible around the sun, close, that's it. This is the myth.
Yeah, that's actually coming up pretty soon. They're going to be conjunct, I think, near the galactic. So yeah, that's coming up soon. I was actually just looking ahead.
This will be.
Do you think that do you think modern astrology, like modern astrologers, are really missing out on all of these ancient myths and the connections? I mean, because I mean, there's a whole another genre of astrology that's mainstream out there that just misses the mark. It doesn't touch on any of these things at all. It's just here's your 12 little profiles, and these are what your planets do, and then it's just kind of parroting. It's a little it's a system that's been less complicated, I guess you would say, and maybe adding myth and adding all of these stars and things might complicate things. But I think it's really cool that real sky astrologers get into all of this stuff. They get into the real stars. They get into the Milky Way and the myth behind the Milky Way. Like, I was just reading about that. The Babylonians had a myth about the Milky Way. Is that you know what I'm talking about, right? That stretch there. Wasn't it the inside of Tiamat? I'm getting a few different stories when I look it up online. So I was just wondering if
there's conflicting information.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could fill me in on that particular one, because was doing a lot of research on it actually, and
Actually, according to the myth, the whole world was made out of Tiamat, but Tiamat is not completely dead. From time to time, she wakes up and she wants to make coup d'état and take all the power. So,
I can relate.
so my actually also look, in order to do this, to make this kind of congruence between mythology and astronomy and astrology, you must know very well mythology, you must know very well the sky, and you must know very well which stars, which constellations are connected with which divinities, with which principles, and with which myths, which is a lot of work, a lot of work. And basically, you can go in any mythology. I am developing Babylonian Sumerian mythology, and also Greek mythology. For example, one of my favorite myths is this about Hermes, stealing the cows of Apollo.
Yes, I love that story. He swipes all of his stuff, but he does something really nice. He sacrifices the best one to the gods, doesn't he?
He sacrifices 2 cows. Okay, so, and also in mythology you must have also some esoteric knowledge, because there are some details in mythology. There are some details, some numbers, which everybody is missing out.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. We have a few astrologers that we know that are numerologists as well, and it goes right over my head.
Me too. It goes over my head.
I know. So I admire astrologers that can do the mathing.
Oh yeah, numbers are very important, and also very important is to read the most ancient authors, the most ancient variant of the different myths. For example, for Greek mythology, I read Homer, and actually, this is the more ancient the author, the better.
I agree. I agree. I used to read a lot of Greek mythology, particularly Homer, too, when I was a lot younger. I loved it because you can't predict what's going to happen next. You have no idea. And it's always some crazy twist and turn in the story. And the mythology, it just sucked me right in. I was addicted to it.
So there are some interesting numbers. For example, okay, the cows. How many are they? 50 cows. 50 cows. Okay, 50 cows. Why are they 50? All right. How many turns of the coil has a hidden? 9. Okay. Why 9? Okay. How many years did Odysseus had his journey? First to Troy, then everywhere else. So how many years did this travel of Odysseus was? 20. Okay, then when he had to go back to Ithaca, he had to face the suitors of his wife. And how many were they? 108. And 108 is very, very special number. It is very special for the Vedic tradition. It is very special for the Buddhist tradition. There are like 108 bodhisattvas. there was one Avalokiteshvara. There was one, very huge, very big dude, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, who had 108 names. So what the hell is going on? Hey.
Yeah, I can see the correlations there. See, there's so many different rabbit holes you can fall down with Babylonian astrology. I really wanted to learn way back in the day, and I had bought a few different books that I ended up returning because they were just beyond me. And it didn't make sense that they weren't using, the real stars in the real sky at all. I'm like, well, if this is ancient, why is it all modern? These books are interpreting everything all modernly. So I've had a little bit, even though we live in modern times with education literally at your fingertips, I've still struggled to find legit education. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. There are very few people in the whole world. There are very few people actually who know anything about Mesopotamian astrology. Very, very few. I don't know, maybe 2-3 people, maybe. But even those from the professors in astrology who specialize in this area, most of them they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't have an understanding because they don't have respect towards the ancient knowledge and towards the ancient civilization. They don't have any respect. For them, these are superstitions. These are idiots who didn't know anything. Absolute, things like this. So it is a very, very arcane field. So the numbers, okay, 20 years, Odysseus was traveling around. Okay, good. Can we connect this with something? Oh, yeah. And we can connect it very, very, very logically and very nicely. First, think that Odysseus had 2 guys from the gods who were protecting him. And they several times they had some direct influence to save his skin. So who are these divinities? Okay, Athena, and Hermes, especially Hermes. So this guy Odysseus, he definitely was under Hermes, Mercury, and Athena. And then, of course, I knew that Mercury as a planet has Babylonian cycles. There are many, especially Mercury has maybe many more cycles than any other planet because his synodic cycle, geocentric around the sun is very, very short, only about 116 days. So that's why he had maybe 10 major cycles, Babylonian heliacal cycles, which means, this Babylonian heliacal cycle is very, very simple thing. This means like, okay, you see today Mercury rising as a morning star in, let's say, Scorpio, okay? After how many years this will repeat? And one of these heliacal cycles is 20 years. 20 years.
So it's all encoded in myth, basically, right? That's
Yeah.
why we learn the myths, because everything, all the information we need has been already encoded in those stories. And that's why we've spread them throughout humanity. We've had tribal people like spread these myths. That's the thing that's missing, I think, in modern astrology, is the actual real roots of where it came from and why we do what we do. Using the stars and how they're rising is actually not something mainstream astrology does. You know this already, but we can gain a lot of really good information and accurate information. So I think you're right. A lot of scholarly types, they lack a lot of love, for the civilization and respect. And it's just, oh, that's just Babylonian omens and they're always negative. But how often are they correct? I mean,
that's actually a good question. I I don't consider myself a Babylonian astrologer, namely because I do astrology like a savage, which is basically point at the sky and tell a story and draw the correlation therefrom. Babylonian astrology is, in my view, extremely complicated. And I just, as fantastic as it is, I don't have the patience for it. Again, I have dyslexia. I have learned in my adult life that numbers, I was like, why can't I keep these numbers and dates and everything in my head? And it turns out it's from dyslexia, but that kind of made it hard too. But the Babylonian Amina tradition in particular is extremely useful. At least it has been for me in determining what like the deeper nature of the planets. And obviously, Dr. Kolev, the Babylonian astrologers had to learn how to decode the information. Everything was spoken about. They had all these different names for different planets and different gods for different months. And, like it was very, very complicated. But have you found that, and I think that you do, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, but do you use like strictly some of the Babylonian omens? Do you take them at face value? I know a lot of them differ even by region, by period. You're going to get conflicting information. Do you do more of that in your practice? Along those same lines, like what does your practice look like?
Well, Babylonian astrology goes with observing the sky. Personally, observing the real sky. So this is something very important, because the planets, sometimes they don't have the same color. Sometimes they change color. Mars can be very red, but sometimes he can be yellow. Mercury, wow, Mercury can be anything. So the stars, when you watch the stars, every star has different color, and they are changing colors. They are changing colors in different sequence. Some slow, some fast. So people go and they read, okay, fixed stars, and they read, okay, like Ptolemy said about the nature of this star, this and this, and then this guy, Arab astrologer, said this one. All right, okay, but look at the sky yourself. So Babylonian astrology goes with observing the sky, and of course, I study the Omina, and there about Enuma, Hanu, and Lil, which is like the Bible of the Babylonian astrology. And in this collection of Omina, you have four sections. The first is for the moon, very very huge section. Then comes the sun. Then comes the weather. Weather is there, and then planets, Venus, and fixed stars. So there are about 7,000 omina there. 7,000. Yeah. And it is, you see, this omina, it is written in a way that only people with very deep knowledge can understand what the hell is going on, because they'll use cover names for planets. They'll use all kinds of words as to conceal actually what they're talking about. Um, so, like for example, let me figure something out. Well, like for example, Omen may say when the eagle approaches the field where you field of potatoes, or field of something, earth field. So when the eagle approaches the field, this will happen. What the hell is that? Who is the eagle? Who is the field? uh, in later times, they some, not in Enuma Nuenlil, but in other collections, the priest will first write this, and then they will explain who is the eagle and who is the field. Later times. So
if we're lucky.
yeah,
Yeah, not all of them. So it does make it hard.
Oh yeah. Not, of course. And Enoma Nuenlil is still not translated. The whole thing is still not translated. I think maybe half or 2/3 are probably translated. But there are also other collections which are not in Enuma Nuenlil, but which also are on, and they are not translated at all. Actually, you see, in this field there is a lot of work. There are a lot of texts, a lot of cuneiform tablets, which sit around in the cellars of the museums.
Yeah, they think maybe like 400,000. That's a lot.
Yes, minimum. And many of them are not even cataloged. They are not described. They are not cataloged. So nobody actually has access to these tablets, and nobody knows what is. Nobody knows that they have these tablets. You must be professor in Brown University.
Yeah.
Which Brown University, it has tradition. You had there Abraham Sachs, you have there Pingree, you had there Otto Neugebauer, and now you have there Stiele, John Stiele. John Stiele, he's maybe one of the best scholars in this area. He is professor. He had undergraduate, I think, in physics, mathematics, and then he knows ancient Egyptian, Akkadian, Sumerian, everything. So he's quite a serious guy. And one interesting thing is that when my book came out in 2013, the Babylonian Astrolabe is called the book, the Babylonian Astrolabe, the calendar of creation. It came out in 2013, and then he, I think in 2014 or 15, he wrote somewhere that he will write a review of my book. Where is the review?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
It hasn't
I'm
happened
still waiting.
yet. It's been a decade. What's that? What's the? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and Babylonian Astrolabe is not as some as that. This is not a book that I published in some esoteric kind of book publishing company. No. This book is in the academic stream. So the professors in this field, they have to write a review. They have to make comments, but they don't have a clue.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with risking reputation. It's kind of a club, and if you don't follow the rules of the club, then you don't get the funding. So, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just assuming that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how the cookie crumbles when it comes to our,
Definitely. Yeah,
our
definitely.
educators, in
Definitely, this is the
institutions.
case. You
Yeah.
see, look, I must be grateful. I must be grateful because look what they did to Galileo Galilei, what they did to all these kind of people who were not agreeing with their views. They put them on the stake.
Yeah, they got
They
railroaded. They were done. If you didn't agree with yeah, you were. They cut you right out. You couldn't cut them right out of history, though. We still know. We still know what they were up to.
yeah.
Dr. Kolev,
So
would you speak a little bit to some of your research and what you found? What is I can assume is the Elif, who is in our comments, assures everyone that it's an excellent book. I don't have a copy yet, you guys. I'm working on it. I'm in Russia, and I'm not confident that anything will actually get to me. If you mail a letter here within Russia, you're looking at maybe 6 months just to get the letter, and that's maybe you just maybe not won't even get it. So I think I'm gonna wait to get it transported by hand in the sometime this coming year. But anyways, could you tell us a little bit about what you found? Because it is quite astonishing, and probably again what Nikki was saying, probably why they don't necessarily want to take a closer look, because if they have to if they have to admit that you're onto something, obviously that makes them not look as good.
yeah, look, they have taken a very very close look. They have
I believe it.
they have read the book word by word, and if they could destroy me, they would have done it already. But they cannot.
Well, yeah, that's
So
the thing.
they cannot. So that's why they have this dilemma. Either to say, okay, everything here is great, Rumen Kolev is right, everything is as he says, so we must reconsider everything in not only in astrology but also in history of science, because
Yes, you're
because
absolutely
you see,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what the problem is and why we can't just correct it. That's the thing that bothers me the most. Like, what is it holding back these scholars? It can't just be funding. It can't just be reputation. It may go a little bit deeper than that, possibly.
Oh, this is a great factor. Prejudice, funding, this danger of ostracism, but also brainwashing. They were brainwashed, and it is. I know personally several Assyriologists, professors, and they know Sumerian perfect. They know Akkadian perfect. They have spent 20 years reading, studying. They know everything, And one example, there is one divinity in the Babylonian pantheon, very, very interesting divinity. It is called Nin Gish Zidda. Nin Gish Zidda. Nin is like divinity. Nin, divinity. Gish is tree, oud, tree. Okay, then with Zidda, it becomes more complex. How do they translate this name? They translate this name the divinity of the good tree. The divinity of the good tree. Does it tell you anything? For me, this tells me nothing. What good tree? Are you crazy? What kind of good tree are you talking about? And this divinity in the iconography has two snakes coming out from his shoulders, like this. And and I talked with these professors. They knew everything, of course. And I told them, okay, what do you think about this name here? And they tell me what is accepted, the divinity of the good tree. I say, okay, but tell me one thing only. Tell me who stole, or rather to say, who took back the plant of the eternal youth from Gilgamesh. Because Gilgamesh, he goes on his journey, he gets the plant of the eternal youth in his hand, and then he travels back to Uruk, to his city. However, on the way, he wants to refresh himself, to take a shower. So he sees one nice pond with falling water. So he says, okay, why I don't go there and have a shower? Okay, good. He goes inside to have a shower in this nice place, but he's holding the eternal youth plant in his hand, and with the other he's watering himself. And guess what happens? As he's enjoying nice time, a snake comes out from somewhere, takes from his hand the plant of eternal youth and goes away. However, Gilgamesh is not an idiot. Gilgamesh is 2/3 divinity and 1/3 human. So he's tough guy, So Gilgamesh has very quick reaction. So he grasps the snake. He takes hold of the snake. However, the snake loses its skin in the hand of Gilgamesh and freaking gets away. So Gilgamesh is standing with the skin of the snake and without the plant of the eternal youth. So this is the story, and I asked him, okay, tell me who stole or took back the plant of the eternal youth from Gilgamesh? Who? A snake? Just ordinary snake? Are you crazy? Ordinary snake will just take this from Gilgamesh? Of course, this is not ordinary snake. This is Nin Gish Zidda. And his name must be translated the divinity of the tree of life. Of the tree of life. So, just one example. There are so many, I can write thousands of pages.
Yeah, there. If I can agree with you and add to that. There are, for the record, my Akkadian is 0. I put all of my focus into Sumerian, and that's plenty because there's a lot out there that still has to be gone through. But I can tell you, I have read every Sumerian grammar. Like you name it, I've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. One of and I would assume this is in across Assyriology, but as far as the Sumerian language goes, they like to project this persona of, we have it figured out. We know what the translation is. This is the acceptable translation. But if you actually dig through it, it turns out every single Sumerologist who focuses on the language, they can't agree on anything. They have a lot of theories that they put forward that they kind of they cherry pick their translations to fit their theories and their narratives, and they try to reconstruct the language, which is great. I'm completely grateful for it, but the way that they project the information is, nope, this is what it is. Don't ask questions about it, and it goes right. It's just like you said. Zed is very clear. Related to life and to rising and the life force coming out, just like the word May, as I'm sure you know. The May are the divine powers. We can equate those to the gifts of civilization. They're things that separate conscious beings from non-conscious or inanimate objects, including slaves and animals and whatnot, at least in the Sumerian mind at the time. But one of the things they overlook is the word May also means being. It's used in the Coppola for I am, you are, was, were, will be, any of those things. And if you actually look at it, it's very clear that they had a concept of consciousness in their language, but they don't have that specific word. And so they just, nope, that's crazy. They got to throw that out. So one of the things I try to impart to people is when you're looking at the names of what are supposedly some of the Akkadian names of some of the zodiac signs or the gods associated with the zodiac signs, some of them don't have Akkadian translations. They might be able to be pronounced in Akkadian, but you don't see the meaning unless you look at it from the Sumerian side of the language. So yeah, that's a really I agree with you completely. That is one of my biggest complaints. It's very pervasive across the language. It affects everything. From them trying to say, them being mainstream Assyriology, trying to say, like the Sumerians didn't have clear associations to the planets, but if more than like 5 seconds of digging, you're like, it's very clear who these referred to. So yeah, that's a really big problem, I think, anyways.
You see, and why do they want this so desperately, that this name should not be the divinity of the tree of life? Very simple, because it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, and they don't want this. So yeah, well, but this has been the case for all the times. Nothing new under the sun. So okay, we keep working, and finally God will have the final word. But talking about Assyriologists, there are some who know very well everything and who are not afraid of anything, and who tell and write what they think. Simo Parpula. Simo Parpula is probably the best Assyriologist living still, thanks God, in the world today. And before somewhere in the beginning of the 20th century, somewhere until the First World War, there were many German Assyriologists they were known as the Pan-Babylonists. the Pan-Babylonians, the Pan-Babylonists. And here we have Alfred Jeremiah, we have Ernst Weidner, we have a whole bunch of very, very serious guys who knew actually what is going on. However, they were ostracized. They were, so to say, forbidden. What I know is that if you go to the library in any university in Europe or in the States, and you go to the Mesopotamian shelves or Assyriology or anything like this, you will not find their books there. They are not there. You must find them in some other ways. So definitely, but you see, they lost the game. Finally, they lost not the battle, they lost the war. Why? Because first they must give answer to my book. And they cannot. So they lost the war, but it is just, it's just, we need some time. This to sink in, maybe 20 years, maybe 50, who knows? But finally, this will be settled for many years to come. So Babylonian astrology, what I believe is that astrology per se is not a historical process. It is not something that people figure out, and one guy figures out this, and then another guy figures out something else, and they, do the whole system. What I believe, and I am absolutely sure in this, that astrology is born when the first human was born. Astrology is just a way of thinking, a way of looking at the world, that everything is connected, that all this science, this phenomena on the sky, they mean something, and they are science for something. And that behind this material world, there is the real world, which is the spiritual world. And higher and higher and higher, there are these principles which are in the basis of the whole creation, which they call gods, but we can call them principles or divinities. Yes, gods too, or the names of God. Like in the Babylonian astrolabe, we have 36 constellations. Like there are 3 concentric circles, and they are divided in 12 parts. So 3 circles divided each in 12 makes 36. And these 12 parts were the months. Nisan, Iris, Siman, Dus, all the 12 months. And for each month, we have 3 constellations. One is appearing in the north before the sunrise in this month. So every month from the eastern horizon, we have 3 constellations rising heliacally. This means that they appear for the naked eye. Every month we have 3 constellations rising, one from the north, one from the center, and one from the south of the eastern horizon. So we have 36 constellations rising, and we have 36 setting. So altogether, how many? As many as the Kabbalah is talking about, 72.
Oh, glad I didn't have to do the math. Okay, thank you.
The Kabbalah.
Yeah,
we talked about the Kabbalah's connection to astrology, and we weren't able to really put it together. We were told there was no connection. actually.
Oh,
Clearly,
yeah, sure.
clearly there is.
Yeah.
Clearly there is. You know, in my
Actually,
opinion.
absolutely. If we can take this 36 rising constellations and the same constellation setting, we can take them and we can eventually correlate each constellation rising or setting with one of the names of God from the Kabbalah. Definitely, I have not done this research because I do a lot of other um, research, but this is absolutely possible. And the Babylonian astrolabe is this text that I'm telling you now. This three concentric circles and these constellations rising hierarchically. And actually, what I did was something very, very simple, something that anybody, literally anybody could do. This is just because in this text you have 12 constellations rising in north, 12 in center, 12 in south. However, because of the precession, the stars are moving on the horizon, and in different epochs they rise from different places. A star which rose from the center of the eastern horizon, like 3,000 years ago, now can rise from the north, and vice versa. So it is very, very simple. Like you just compute when this text made astronomical sense, when this information was true, and when you make all the necessary computations, which I did in this book, you will see something hard to believe. Which when I first realized this, when I first made this research and I saw the results, I said, no, 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 no. There must be a mistake here. This is absolutely crazy. Because the result was 5,500 years BC, before Christ. 7,500 years before now. This was the result. And I said, what? This is crazy. This is not possible. And then I made more research, and I checked this, I checked that, I checked everything. The results stayed the same. So, but why nobody did this very, very simple thing? Well, because they are programmed. They are afraid. They are scared. You know,
I agree.
Yeah.
It has to be that. I often wonder, I meditate on that a lot, like, because I do a lot of research myself, and you have to, because all the astrological books are giving you the wrong information. It's all in tropical, it's all in a tradition that, supposedly has been claimed that Ptolemy invented, which isn't real. That's not true.
Nope.
Not at all. He was using the real sky when he, was practicing. But yeah, I often wonder, where and how the split, happened. And it was a slow burn to astrology and astronomy, separating those two. And I think a lot of people can't get out of that mindset that science and spirituality are actually, intertwined. They're in this mindset where it's separate. Like, if you can't scientifically prove it, then it's not real. That's like that. That's the mindset I live around in my country. So there's not a lot of openness to interpretation. And I think that's a lot of the issue with astrology. It gets shunned, and it gets poo-pooed on, because it's supposed to be this fake thing, and I think it's really sad that it's gotten to this point where people are using it not to prophesize, not to look ahead, and not to understand the current, energies that we're living under right now. It's kind of sad. We have there's this really cool Thunderbolt project Abby turned me on to, and it's these guys who are studying outer space and electricity and how these planets and their influence work on our planet. And they're not astrologers by any means, but it helps to make, sense of things. So yeah, regardless, I'm just really happy that it's all getting figured out. And you're right, it is going to take some time. It takes a long time to undo these types of knots that history's made, that they've produced. I do have a question for you, though. In Babylonian astrology, you had mentioned that they talk about a lot of the color of the stars, the brightness, whether it's red, whether, is there a system to that? Somebody new who's looking at the sky, if you see it brighter, does it mean something different for each star? Does it, if I see a star, that's a different color, like, what type of meaning does it normally have? I mean, is it different for each section of the sky? I'm just curious.
Well,
That's something I got to explore.
You see, the Greeks loved to put everything on paper and to make everything known to everybody. The Babylonians did the opposite. They would hide everything from everybody. So you will not find a treatise where you'll be like every case will be explained and then every color of every star. No way. It is just spread out here and there information that you must gather.
Too, yeah.
And then you must put everything together. That must be in congruence, in agreement with the whole system of ancient astrology. So it is the process is like this. But what you said about the modern age, yes, the modern age, starting somewhere from the second half of the 18th century, let's say 1750, starting from this moment, actually, the Western culture became very materialistic. They said, okay, there is no God, there is no divinities. Everything which really exists is only material stuff, material. Nothing else exists. And actually, this kind of worldview developed with time, and it came to the point that actually this kind of worldview, materialistic, denying any spirituality, denying any spiritual side of the universe, denying God, actually this worldview became dominant. And what it did, it robbed the people from the magic of life. The magic of life was gone because something happens to someone. Let's say somebody, some terrible case. Somebody loses his whole family in an accident or in some kind of bombing. There's so many wars going on in the whole world. So something like such case happens. So what will these people tell this guy? Okay, the guy will ask, what the hell happened? Why this happened to me? What will they tell them? They will tell them, okay, this is just chance. This just is that the trajectory of the rocket was like that, and you see, they don't have answers. They don't have answers. And people who are in this state of mind, their life is empty. They don't have spiritual development because spirituality does not exist for them. Everything is chance. So this is a very, very serious thing. But of course, this is what God wanted for this period, and this will not be forever. Definitely, nothing is forever. But this is how I see this kind of, like in the ancient times, people who were very spiritual, they were absolutely convinced in the existence of the spiritual world, of God, and they knew that every phenomenon, everything that happens on the sky, everything that happens with them personally has very deep meaning. And behind this, there are spiritual forces. So, yeah, talking about the tropical and the sidereal zodiac. Okay, the tropical zodiac, which is fixed to the cardinal points, the equinoctia and the solstitia, right? The two solstices and the two equinoxes. This kind of tropical zodiac is very, very old. Actually, this is not Ptolemy. There are several Greek astronomers, like, okay, Hipparchus is there. Also, there is Geminus, Poseidonius. There are a whole bunch of Greeks who lived before Ptolemy and who wrote about the tropical zodiac. But this is not the only thing. The tropical zodiac actually was also in Mesopotamia. There is one text, astronomical text, Mu Apin. Mu means star, and Apin means plough, that you tilt the earth with.
Plow.
Plow. Okay. So this is a text, astronomical, and the first words start like this, Mu Apin, and so on. That's why the name Mu Apin. And in this text is described the tropical zodiac. And this text is somewhere not later than the 8th century BC. Before that, I would date this to around 1400 BC. So in this text is described the tropical zodiac. However, there is difference. Like the spring equinox is in the middle of the first tropical section. You have 12 tropical sections, and their names are the names of the months in the Mesopotamian calendar. The first section is Nisan, the second is Airu, the third is Siman. This is the months in the civil calendar. And this is the one difference. The other one is that the spring equinox was in the middle of the Nisan section. And this was called the ideal year. The ideal year had 12 sections, and each section had 30 subsections. They called the sections months and the subsections days. However, these were not months and days. De facto, these were signs and degrees, because each tropical section had 30 days, and the whole year had 12 of them. So they had this tropical zodiac from very ancient times, and they had several. Actually, they had several tropical zodiacs. I know about 3. This is the first one. The second one is the one described by Ptolemy, like the spring equinox, the beginning of the first section. And then the third one is very, very strange, actually. It is, I I call it the zodiac um, of equal time ascensions. Like, okay, you watch on the eastern horizon when the spring equinox is right there, and after 2 hours, you watch again what is rising, and you say, okay, this was the first section. Then you watch for another 2 hours the second section. You see? So this is different for different latitudes. So they used each one of these for different purpose. And of course, they had their sidereal zodiac, which by all facts was Aldebaran in the middle of Taurus, 1500. Because when you put Aldebaran 1500, then you will see that the whole Taurus with the horns in the end of the horns there are stars, and the whole Taurus will be in the fixed sidereal sign Taurus if you put Aldebaran in the middle. Then the southern horn of Aldebaran of the Taurus will be right on the border with Gemini. So this was the Babylonian fixed zodiac. It is proven. It is a fact. Very, very old Assyriologists wrote about this. Kugler wrote about this in 1900 1900 year. Also, there is another one. I think Huber, Peter Huber, scholar who also wrote huge article about the fixed Babylonian zodiac, and all they agree with this. Well, a little bit difference. 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes arc minutes here and there. But it is the case that they used many different zodiacs. Of course, the sidereal was the main zodiac. And this is a fact, actually.
That makes a lot of sense that there would be a lot of different variations of practice of astrology, considering there were many different cultures. We're not just talking about one little group of people and the rest of the world was empty. That knowledge spread out, and obviously the people played with it and created many different ways to use it.
Plus it took place over thousands of years too.
Was there evidence that the Babylonians, that the ancients knew about precession and knew about the way the earth was moving? I mean, they tend to have a lot of knowledge base. I would assume that they knew about the earth and how it moved, and it moved around the sun. I mean, do we have any evidence, or have you come across any texts, anything that solidifies that view, that thought?
The precession, I believe that they knew about the precession because there are several different systems according to which they computed the length of the day, of the light. They computed this, and in order to compute this, they must know where is the spring equinox in the fixed zodiac. And we know for sure from the texts that they had at least minimum 3 systems. One of them would put the equinox in the 15th degree of Aries, which is about 900 BC. 900 BC. So they had another system which would put it in the 10th degree, and the last system that they had was putting it in the 8th degree. Actually, this was not the last. The last put it in the, I think, in the 5th degree, but there are very, very few texts with the 5th degree. So this kind of precession, okay, 15, 12, 10, 8. What the hell does this tell us?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and also you
Make
must
an adjustment. Yeah.
you must consider also that the texts with the 15 degree were the oldest, and with the 8, the most recent. So everything is clear. And this thing about the equinox in the 8th degree of fixed Aries, this was taken up by the Greek astronomers. Valens, for example, for Valens, uh, the equinox was in the 8th degree. He just worked with this kind of algorithms, with this kind of books that they had from this last Babylonian system. So definitely they knew about the recession. Mm, and
Now,
what else?
what we probably don't know is what they used each one of those different systems for. So you said they had different, at least 3 different systems that they used for keeping track of the stars. Do we know like why they had a few different systems and why it wasn't just the sky? I mean,
Well, they had to know where is the spring equinox, because they wanted to compute how long is every day, how many light, how many hours is the light. They had to know this, so that's why they needed to know this. But also one thing very, very interesting is that they had also something which later, which like in the 19th, 20th century, was known as like this table of houses. Table of houses. From this table of houses, by the right ascension of the MC, by the meridian, you know what is rising on the ascendant. These were called table of houses. Right now, everything is with computer, but 50, 60 years ago, astrologers were using this table of houses. And the Babylonians, they had table of houses. They could compute the ascendant. and and this is dated to around 800 BC, 900 BC. I I write about this in my book Babylonian Astrology. Mm, so they could compute this. Also, they talk about this mainstream scholars and some other people talk about this, that Babylonian astrology was not horoscopic astrology, and uh, mm, what to say about this? This, you must be crazy. You must be absolutely crazy to believe that for the Babylonians it did not matter what is rising on the eastern horizon. Are you kidding me? Come on. Everything was important.
Yes.
Everything on the sky was important. And if they are telling me that it didn't matter. Somebody is born when Jupiter is rising on the eastern horizon. Somebody else when Mars is rising. But it didn't matter for them. are you, are
Yeah,
you
that's
serious? Come on.
a really big point of contention for me. So a lot of my work goes into trying to, I mean, I can't prove it because I wasn't there, but at least bring more of the Sumerian astrological information that's encoded in myth, just kind of shed more light on that and make that more, and I can't make it mainstream, obviously, but to definitely at least acknowledge that something was probably going on prior to the Enuma, Anna, and Lila, like before that. So I have no difficulty believing that the Babylonian astrolabe that you write about, that it could be dated to, you said 5,500 BCE. I have no difficulty believing this. So one of the issues that seems to be a justification or is an excuse, I'm not sure how we would define that, but there's this idea in, again, mainstream Assyriology, that if we don't have a text that says something was happening, then it must not have been going on. So prior to, and I think I'm being generous when I say that some Assyriologists will at least entertain the idea that in the Gudea cylinder seals that it's mentioned that Nisaba is basically doing astrology. She's doing astro augury.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are like, nope, that's definitely not astrology. But okay, but the ones that at least give you that, they like to say, so a lot of the divinatory practices in Babylon can be a lot of the practices in general can be traced back to the Sumerian period. I mean, we can see that with a lot of the bilingual glosses, but they like to make it sound like, well, if again they weren't writing about astrology in the old Sumerian period, they must not have been doing it. But technically, humanity has an entire history prior to 5,000 BC. And if we're to follow that logic, then nobody was singing, nobody was cooking, nobody was dancing, there was no poetry, there was nothing, because the proto-cuneiform texts we all have are all numerical for the most part, as you probably know, I'm sure. They're all related to, it's all administrative text. It's receipts for, how many sheep did, so and so get. And so they like to make it sound like a lack of writing, that basically is proof that they weren't doing a certain thing, which I think is silly for the reasons I just mentioned. But yeah, so I have no doubt that the astrolabe that you translated it, right? Am I reading that? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. Additionally, I don't, I mean, again, and I don't have proof, but I don't think it's hard to believe that people have been doing some form of natal astrology in whatever shape that may have taken for maybe hundreds of thousands of years. We don't know. Nobody could know for sure. But I do think that, I do think there's a lot more evidence. I think it's really a shame that a lot of mainstream Assyriologists just they can't open their mind, they can't open their eyes to things. Fortunately, there's people like you out there who will put some of this information out. I would imagine you're not worried about your reputation, otherwise you wouldn't have ever written your book. So it's the information is starting to get out there slowly but surely.
I'm worried. I'm worried about my reputation.
Yeah.
Over there.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And these guys, and I had a lot of kind of how to say, like kind of stories with some of the most famous scholars in astrology, personal stories. And these guys, they outwardly should be dedicated to the truth, which is God. God is the truth. And if they are hiding information, if they are lying, they are in very big trouble, very huge trouble. Yeah,
I agree. We do answer to a higher power. I believe that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's a lot going on the other side that we just can't see and talk about. It's like, the amnesia, it's just so thick. Some of us can still remember a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh yeah. So to tell you about this table of houses, that the ascendant was actually important, and that they, of course, knew about this. They computed it, and there is one text where it talks about what means for a for someone to be born when one of the planets is rising on the eastern horizon. There is such a text actually, which describes Omina, like they say, okay, if a child is born when Jupiter is rising, his fate will be he'll be rich, he'll be famous, and so on. So when Mars is rising and this and that, and they also had combination. When one planet is rising and another is setting, one is on the ascendant, the other is on the descendant, and they had combinations of these two, and I'll tell you which is this text. Okay,
Yes.
so everybody can check it. So Abraham Sachs published one big article called Babylonian Horoscopes in 1952. I think this was in the Journal of Cuneiform Studies. And in this article, in the end, there is one appendix called Appendix 2. This Appendix 2, the second appendix, is for one text which is known as AO AO 6483, or another name is TCL 6 number 14. So it is on page 65 of his article Babylonian Horoscopes, and there you can read all these very, very interesting things. Like, for example, here, let me see. Like, okay, I have taken out somewhere, because not everything is preserved. Many of this many parts are missing, but I can tell you by memory, for example, that they say if somebody is born when Jupiter is rising but Mars is setting, this guy will be victorious over his enemies. Why? Because ascendant eastern horizon is Jupiter. That's him. And descendant, which is the opposite side, the enemy, Mars is going down. And Mars is also the planet of the enemies. In the Babylonian astrology, actually, one of the name of Mars was the enemy. Another name was the liar, the killer. Everything bad was Mars. So
He got a bad
so
rap. Yeah. He earned it.
yeah,
Might have earned it.
yeah. So
That's funny
well,
you use those two as descriptors, because my daughter has Jupiter on the ascendant and Mars right underneath the descendant. And she is the one of the luckiest people I know. And
yeah,
she's had life experiences where people have done her dirty and done her wrong, and the universe comes back and just smacks them as hard as I've ever seen. And I'm like, how are you so divinely protected? Like, who gave your guide slingshots? Like, and now you just explained it to me, and I was literally just thinking about it a couple days ago. So that makes so much more sense if you put it when you put it in those words. It's really cool. What article again? It's who wrote that article that you were just referencing, so I can write that down too.
this is very, very famous astrologist, Abraham Sachs.
Abraham Sachs.
The article is Babylonian Horoscopes.
Okay.
Nikki, there's a link. You have a link to that already.
Yes.
It's in the PDF for my notes from the
All
course.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to write this down so I remember to go back and
It's really cool.
Yes.
I remember when I first came across that, I'm like, oh, wait a second. I've been told my entire life that the Greeks created natal astrology. There's no possible way that it ever predated Ptolemy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all been told those things. Yeah. We're finding out, we're digging a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Dr. Kolev. We have that really cool comet flying through the sky right now, 3i Atlas. And
Is it a comet? Though, is it?
I know. It's really interesting because we were having a light discussion about what would the Babylonians say about this comet and its trajectory and what it would mean. And I'm just curious what you think. What are your thoughts? I mean, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, what is the most important is actually whether this 3i Atlas will be visible, whether it will become visible. Also, its color, where it will become visible on the sky, in which constellation, and also how strong would be the light. Now, if it becomes visible and very, very powerful, very, very bright, then this will have a huge meaning.
A stronger effect, yeah.
Very, very strong effect, yeah. But if it remains invisible, then it will also have effect, but it will be invisible, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was trying to follow it on Stellarium, and it stops around Gemini, around Jupiter, and then it doesn't track it after that. So,
hey, you guys, real quick, I'm gonna go. I'm having all kinds of internet issues. I'm gonna reset my router. I'll be back. So you guys handle the conversation. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I was trying to track the actual comet on Stellarium, and it seemed to be following the ecliptic. So I wasn't sure if it has to be visible in order, for it to be, because it's still visible on the southern hemisphere if we're not seeing it in the northern hemisphere. Is that I might be confusing myself actually saying that. I forget that it's mirrored when you go down, when you travel south of the equator. So, but yeah, I was just curious what your thoughts were on that. And I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people making conversation about it being not a comet at all. And I just thought, well, if the Babylonians saw it, what would they think? But you're right. I guess they have to it has to be visible for them to actually make an omen.
Yeah,
to create an omen about it.
Yeah, they have omen for comets. They have omen for meteors also, and it dependent in which constellation it will be seen and how bright it will be seen. So it will be it will be something connected with the constellation. So, for example, if a solar eclipse, let's say, but also this is also valid also for comets and for meteors. If a solar eclipse happens, there is one constellation which is the divinity Ninmah, which means the mother goddess. She is portrayed with a baby. So if solar eclipse or something like this happens in this constellation, for the Babylonians, this meant that the pregnant women will have difficult times, that they will lose their babies, that the babies will die and something like that, because it is solar eclipse on this constellation. And they had one constellation which they called death, death, dying, death. And when solar eclipse happens there, then the omen was that everything will thrive. There will be a lot of cattle, a lot of fish, a lot of babies, everything. Why? Because the death was, annihilated. So this is very, very kind of logical thinking. But I want to go back to this text that I told you about, Abraham Zach's Babylonian Horoscopes, the second annex. And for example, look what kind of interesting omena you have here. If a child is born when Jupiter comes forth and Venus sets, it will go exceedingly well. There's no with that man. They meant okay, but his wife will leave. Venus setting, Venus disappearing. All right, Venus disappearing, wife disappearing. Very, very simple. Okay, when I said, when if a child is born when Jupiter comes forth and Saturn had set, it will go excellently with that man. His personal enemy will die. Saturn.
Yeah, it's very specific. Yes,
I like that. I need specifics.
Well, and okay, if Jupiter is rising, if Mars and Mars is setting, he will be super. His enemy will be defeated. Listen to this. If a child is born when Venus comes forth and Saturn, wait a minute. If a child is born when Venus comes forth on the ascendant, it is meaning, and Jupiter had set on the descendant, his wife will be stronger than him. You like that?
She'll be carrying him on her back.
Bossing him around. Hey, make me a coffee. Hey, where's my beer?
Buy me some.
And okay, there is one question here. Someone who is smart guy or smart gal, they may say, okay, look, what is here actually is not rising on the eastern horizon. It means heliacal rising, which is different thing. Heliacal rising means when a planet or a star becomes visible for the first time after conjunction. So it is different from ascendant. But I have already answered for this, because in the very beginning, in the very beginning, actually, in the very beginning, all right, let's see where it is. In the very beginning, it says, if a child is born when the sun has come forth, then it is missing the other part. But okay, here they are talking. What is the meaning? What is the omen? If a child is born when the sun is coming forth, and the sun doesn't have heliacal rising.
Right. Exactly.
So you see that.
So some of it might be misinterpreted, right? Some of it might be
Well, that goes
I
back
missed
to
that.
somebody decides what it means, and then you're not allowed to question it anymore. You just got to run with it now.
So it is, the Babylonian astrology. I think the Babylonian astrolabe, it has several kind of levels of astronomical information, and this and the place of the constellations in the paths, because they call this path ways path to go, like northern, central, southern. So this is uh, how they order the constellation rising on the eastern horizon, from which place. This is definitely from 5500 BC. And you see, there is this legend about Enmeduranki, who is actually the first Hermes, Enoch. Enoch. Uh, and the legend says that he was the priest king of the pre-diluvial Sipar. Sipar is was a city in Mesopotamia dedicated to Shamash, the sun. However, here they talk about Sipar before the big deluge, deluge, the deluge, antediluvial, and actually there were many such kind of deluges, but the main one was exactly then, 5500 BC. So and Meduranki, the first Hermes, he was taken to the council of the gods by Shamash and by Adat. No, Shamash came from the right, Adat came from the left, and they took him and transported him to the council of the gods. This is the legend, and over there they taught him, among several things, astrology too. Astrology was one of the things that they taught him there, and definitely about astrology before the Babylonian kingdom. Okay, like it is like before 1800 BC. Babylon, it started rising up when the spring equinox entered into constellation Aries, and this happened in around 1800 BC. Hammurabi, the first dynasty. However, we have many evidence, a lot of evidence before that for astrology. We have Omina for the last king of Ur, Ibisin, the last king of Ur. We have Omina, and this was 2000. What, I think this was 2000 BC. 2000 BC. We have Omina for even for Sargon the Great, which was 2300 BC. We have legends for the kings of Agade, and we have there described how Naram-Sin is talking with Venus. I believe, Asan, with Ishtar. I believe it should be Ishtar of Uruk, which is corresponding to Aphrodite. This is Venus in the evening. So he was talking with Ishtar of Uruk. Hey, come on. And there was this Omina from Sumerian times. Also we have a list of words, Sumerian list of words with constellations and with the names of stars and planets. Also, we should never forget, never forget that that this kind of knowledge about astrology in the Sumerian times, Omina from the Sumerian times, and all of this, that this is something that the mainstream would like to hide. That they will not support any research, that they will not give any money to scholars to make research on Babylonian astrology or on Sumerian astrology. For God's sake, this is absolute taboo for them, and there are so many tablets, Sumerian and Akkadian. Nobody looks at them. Nobody. They just sit there. So there is plenty of evidence. As I said, there are a lot of omina, starting from Sargon the Great. From Sargon the Great, which is 2,300 BC. These are Sumerian times, and we have, of course, also Gudea from 2,100 BC, which is a whole big story, because this Gutis, the Gutis were mm, entering into Mesopotamia because Naram Sin made some stupid things. He was angry at some priests, so he destroyed the temple of Enlil, and he was punished for this. But not only him, the whole Mesopotamia, God sent them the Gutis. And the only kingdom, imagine this area, like imagine this time, like the whole of Mesopotamia devastated, fires everybody, skeletons, corpses everywhere, smoke rising from burned down cities, and heaps of corpses, and vultures, flying. And in all this area of utter destruction, there is one kingdom which is standing tall. Let's call it the last kingdom. And this was Gudea. Only one kingdom survived. Only Gudea. Why? Because Gudea was a saint. He was a real saint. And he prayed to God, and God told him what to do, to build a temple. So you know what he did. He did a lot of things. He purified the city first, and so on and so on. And he had a dream, so he went to ask what this dream meant to Girso and Nanshe, which is the dream interpreter. Actually, Nanshe, she's the sister of Marduk. Nanshe, her iconography is, she's with one, how to, like, vase or something for water, like big kind of vessel for water. So this is her iconography. Also, her name was written with the sign of a temple, and inside fish. So she was the divinity of Pisces, of the constellation Pisces, and she was the dream interpreter, the sister of Marduk, Jupiter. So you see, Jupiter connected with Pisces through his sister, and we have also this. Also, you see, from Sumerian times, we have this connection between Ishtar of Uruk and Taurus, because Gilgamesh, the tough guy, he becomes very famous. he makes exploits. He goes to the cedar forest. He proves him like a tough guy. He comes back, and everybody is like, wow, and Ishtar of Uruk is standing on the walls of Uruk, and she's watching also, and she's also wow, and she propose she proposes
Yeah,
she
that's right.
proposes
Yeah.
she proposes to Gilgamesh that he becomes her husband, and she she like promises a lot of things, oh boy, I'll make everything for you. We'll be in this chamber full with flowers and incense, and we'll make love every day and so on and so on. All kinds of promises. However, Gilgamesh was not stupid, so he told her, okay, look, very nice, thank you, but first, tell me what happened with your previous husband. What happened to them? Huh? And he started enumerating, this guy you transformed into a bird with broken wings. This other guy you transformed into a wolf that was eaten by his own dogs. This third guy you made very small. So different things. And he said, what will you do with me? And he actually rejected her. And what was Shakespeare saying about this? Like a scolded wench is worse than thousands of storms.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
I like that. I know she got really mad. She took that personally.
Yeah.
She really took it
She did.
personally. But it was really cool to hear a story about a chick actually asking a dude to marry her. It's supposed to be so chivalry is more of like a man thing. And she just stood up and was like, yeah, hey hottie.
Well, she's
it.
divinity. She's divinity. She can do whatever, everything. And then she went to Anu, and she told me, Anu, my father, give me the celestial bull. Give me the celestial bull, Taurus. And Anu gave her Taurus. So Ishtar of Uruk is connected with the constellation Taurus from the epoch of Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh, there's many things there which are connected with astrology. For example, Gilgamesh and Enkidu, they leave for their cedar forest to go there. They leave Uruk at the spring equinox when there was Akitu, this festival at the spring equinox, which lasted for 12 days. So they leave Uruk at the spring equinox. Wow, that's interesting. Also, every 45 days, Gilgamesh must do a special ritual in which he will get prophetic dream from Shamash. So what did he do? Every 45 days. This is numbers in myth, very important. So he will go to a mountain, he will make a circle, he will make prayers, he will make this and that, and then in a dream, Shamash will tell him what will expect them in the next 45 days. So every 45 days, he makes this ritual. And what does this mean, actually? That's very interesting and very logical, actually, to make the connection with the Babylonian astrolabe. Why? because the paths in the sky that I'm talking about, the northern, central, southern sections of the eastern horizon, how did they divide them? Well, 45 days after the spring equinox, they watch where will the sun rise on the eastern horizon. And this will be the border between the northern path and the central path. 45 days before the spring equinox will be the border between the central and the south and the southern path. So you see, this knowledge about the division of the eastern horizon was already in the Gilgamesh epoch, in the Gilgamesh time, and also from their start until they are coming back, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 such rituals. Yes, spring equinox, then 45 days after that, 90 days after that is the summer solstice, then 45 days more, then 45 days more, and we have the fall equinox. So from the spring equinox to the fall equinox, we have 5 such rituals. So this is describing exactly this kind of movement of the sun and the moon. One was Gilgamesh, the other one was Enkidu. And there is even one seal. I think it is Akkadian, very very ancient seal, where you can see Gilgamesh and Enkidu, and between them the sun and the moon. Between them. So there, about iconography, there is also a lot of misinterpretation of the iconography. I may try to find this seal because they very very often, even in the animation movies, I am positive. I think that they change Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Like Gilgamesh, okay, let me. I think I want to find this because this will show you actually what is going on here. Because Enkidu is actually a creation. He's a creation of. Let me see. Enkidu is the creation of Enkidu. So, okay, let me see, maybe here. And Gilgamesh. Okay. Can I share the screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Let me see.
Somewhere on the bottom row, there's a little computer icon with a plus.
Okay, share screen. Okay, screen sharing. Share screen. Can you see now the screen?
Not yet, no.
Select Windows or screen. Okay, what? Let me see. How do I? Your browser has blocked your screen. Well, let me try again. Share screen.
If you can't share it, let me know. I'll see if I can share it. I just need to know which one. I think I know which one you're referring to.
I see now. Okay. Um, entire screen. Okay. Now I think we'll be okay. You see now?
Oh, I see it pop up. Hold on, I gotta add it to the infinite windows. Okay, so sort of. Yeah, there you go. Now we see it.
All right. So here are our heroes. And I'm absolutely sure that this guy with the horns here is Gilgamesh. Because his mother was the divinity of the wild bulls, Ninsun. Ninsun was his mother. So here are the horns because he was two-third divinity. Also because his mom was divinity of the bulls. You see, below his waist, he is a bull. And on the right is Enkidu. Enkidu, he is described with a curly hair. Curly hair. So here you see curly hair. Also, interesting, important kind of detail is that look, if you look at the manlyhood, so to say, of Gilgamesh here, you see it is like erected, right? And this is in every iconography of Gilgamesh. Why? Well, because he was kind of before he met uh, um, Enkidu, he was kind of sex maniac, Gilgamesh. From
Yeah, no wonder
mythology.
Venus was like, hey.
Yeah, he was always ready and very very aggressive. Actually, he was very bad king. That's why Enkidu came to kind of educate him. So 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 to say. So I may look also at some other things maybe to share that are interesting. But let me first find them where I put them. Um, yeah, it
I
was.
was very curious as to how they divided up the sky into those sections, and I've learned about it over and over, but the way you explained it just totally sunk in, like how they measured the sky using the rising the sun and the 45 days. I'm going to try to remember that.
It's recorded, so you
It
can look
is
it up.
yeah, no, that made a lot of sense. I actually have only heard the Epic of Gilgamesh like second, third hand from other people. I never actually sat and read it. So now I know exactly what I'm going to be doing later on this week. I'm going to read the heck out of it because you're just decoding this myth for me, and I'm absolutely adoring it. I love it. I do have a question for you though, and it's not really related so much to Gilgamesh or Venus or anything, but maybe it is. Have you ever come across any evidence that Babylonian astrologers knew about any of the outer planets that modern astrology is?
Oh no.
I know
Uh,
you probably get that question all the time, so I didn't want to ask it, but I was killing me inside. I had to. It was eating me
uh,
up, and I was like, I
you
gotta
know,
ask.
even if they did, because there a lot of evidence that they had telescopes. Actually, there is a lot of evidence about this. But even if they did, I don't think they'll put it on writing.
It would
Yeah,
probably be encoded somehow into their stories,
yeah.
and we just wouldn't know.
But there is evidence that they had telescopes, that they had lenses. with which they made
Yeah, before the
telescope.
like mid 1700s, I think is when they claim it was invented, the telescope. I'm sure they had a lot of other inventions before the 1700s.
You see, here are the paths. Like in the center is the point east. Here the sun is rising, where the sun is rising 45 days after the spring equinox. And this is the boundary, this one. So let's see what else. This is Enki. This is one of the texts that I translate and explain in my book. This is a planisphere. It is from I think from the library of Assurbanipal, but I think this is Assyrian planisphere, which there here names of stars, of constellations. There are names of divinities also, and actually nobody is quite sure what was this for. Different kind of theories. There are one theory is that this is kind of astrological magical kind of text, that here we have some kind of magical kind of incantation. I think this could be very logical, because one thing about magical incantations is that they have they repeat a certain word, and we can see here several such repetitions, like on this row here. We can see dingir 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. 11 times we have this word here, which means God. 11 times, which is one very interesting number actually for the esoterics. And we have here Venus somewhere here. We have constellations, different kind of stuff. This is my book. The title page, the cover. This is the so-called Dodica Moria texts, and this is for the moon. You see the Pleiades here, and Taurus here. No, actually, this here is Aries, and the Pleiades are on the left, and the moon is here. And this is the Dodica Moria for Taurus, I think. Yes, this is for the Dodica Moria for Taurus.
What is that date to?
Pardon?
The date. What's the date? The period
of this Dodica Moria text. Well, I think they are. I think Ernst Weiner wrote about this text. We have several which are preserved. We have for Taurus. I think we have for Leo. Yes, for Leo, and for Virgo. So, and I think it was somewhere. Was it somewhere in the 5th, 4th century BC? Well, somewhere there.
Okay.
Like the beginning of the Hellenistic times. And this here is Mercury. On the right is Virgo, and this is here the end. This is the end of of this constellation, Hydra, which was Tiamat, and Corvus here. And here are the Dodecatemoria. And for each Dodecatemoria, we have here many things. We have plants, we have stones, we have temples, we have cities, and we have even omina if a solar eclipse happens in this Dodecatemoria. So we have like for every Dodecatemoria, imagine this: you have cities, temples, stones, plants, and there are 144 Dodecatemorias. So this is Ishtar of Akkad. Ishtar of Akkad, which is Venus as a morning star. And of course, we have a huge textual evidence that for the Babylonians, Venus as a morning star was Ishtar of Akkad, and Venus as an evening star was Ishtar of Uruk. And they were quite different divinities in their iconography and also of their meaning. Ishtar of Akkad, the morning star, was the divinity of war, of strategy. The same like with Athena. And you see here 6 scimitars, 6 swords tucked behind her back, and we see here another sword in her left hand, 7 swords, and this is like whip, and she's standing on the lion, very strong divinity. And this here is the Ishtar of Uruk. Well, she doesn't have weapons, but she has a lot of light in her. She's the divinity of art, of all kinds of beautiful things, music, nice time. This is here, of course, Ishtar of Akkad, and this is her symbol here. You see the 8-petaled star, and this was one king, one of the, I think, of the Sumerian or the Akkadian kings. So this is to say that Ishtar of Akkad gave him the victory. This is again Ishtar of Uruk with the Melamu. This is called Melamu, which I will translate. Okay, Me is Me, and Lamu is like fire, like light, fire, and this is like the aura of the virtue, which means that the more virtuous someone is, the brighter aura this guy has. Melamu. So let's see. This is from one place here north of Varna. This is the sea. This is very ancient place, stone observatory, and this is Venus here in Leo. This here is Regulus. Venus, morning star, rising before the sunrise in the beginning of Leo. Well, probably she's in the Babylonian fixed zodiac. Probably she is still in the end, or on the border, between Cancer and Leo, because Regulus is in the 5th degree of Babylonian Leo. This is about Mercury, about his heliacal cycle. This is actually the Babylonian Astrolabe, one of the texts which is in the Berlin Museum. There are these 2 sides of the Babylonian Astrolabe. These are my books in English. This is interesting kind of graphic. Yeah, there was one. Well, he was a philosopher. He was also, I think, he was uh, in the Orthodox Church. He's somewhere from the 10th century AD, and in the Orthodox Church, he is. What was his name? I must check out. But this guy was the only guy who gave. Actually, he gave for each decanate. He gave the Greek divinity, which is corresponding. Nobody else. You can find this nowhere else. Only in this guy, and this guy, his name was. Let's see here. Episcopus. He was episcop of Mayuma. This guy, and his name was Saint Cosmas. Saint Cosmas of Mayuma in the 8th century AD. This is interesting, very interesting, because every decanate you have the Hellenistic kind of divinity.
I wish they would implement that. It as the way it stands, as we just heard from Chris Brennan a few weeks ago, who explained to the world that tropical astrology, as it is right now, is a construct based on maybe originally seasons, but definitely not seasons anymore. It's more all based on the element modality system. It would be really cool, I think, if classical astrologers went back to mythology, at least use the myths of Greek mythology. That'd be something. Maybe look at some of the deities. I think that would be a good place to go back to. That's just me.
Oh yeah. Well, there is so much to research, so many things to develop. This is the astrolabe in a kind of tabular form. And now let me go to the end, which is Marduk. This is Ninurta. The very often the Mesopotamian divinities, they are iconographed together with the monsters that they defeated. Here is Anzu on the left and Ninurta on the right. Ninurta, they sometimes they equate Ninurta. Well, not equate. They say that Ninurta reveals in Mercury. I suppose Mercury as a morning star, because usually Mercury is Nabu. But in the text, in many places, it is called Ninurta. So, and in other texts, it is equated with Saturn. So this is Marduk, and this guy here beneath with the horns. This is Tiamat. This monster that Marduk defeated. So this is the Babylonian astrolabe with information from several Akkadian sources. And oh my God, this is why I must maybe from here. Yeah, so you can see here the three circles and how they are divided in 12. And here you see the sections, the tropical sections, with the spring equinox in the middle of the first section, Nisan. And also you have here the constellations, and you have also the divinity which is connected with each one of the constellations. So here, for the first month, the month around the spring equinox, on the outer circle is the constellation which arises from the south. So we have here one constellation which is doesn't have equivalent in the modern, but this is called the field, and here is Alpha Beta Gamma of Pegasi and Alpha of Andromeda, and this is like a rhombus, not a square but rhombus. So this is rising from the south. In the center, they have put Venus. Dilbat actually is Venus. Whether this is a constellation which is under Venus, or this is the place of Venus where she should be rising in order that everything should be okay, you know, like the planets, they had places where were like their perfect place, you know, right? Like if Venus, for example, is rising in the first month around the equinox, if she is rising from the central part of the eastern horizon, this is her perfect place to rise. This is the perfect time for her to rise, and this means that everything will be fine in this year. So in the northern place of the horizon is rising the constellation Apin, which means plow. This
Plow,
instrument, yeah, for tilting.
yes.
And my identification is with Cassiopeia. There are other of Pingree and some other people from the astrologists. They identified with triangulum, but I don't think this is the case. Anyway, this is Cassiopeia, and the divinity behind this constellation is Enlil. Enlil, which is the king of, like the most important divinity after Anu. And the second month, you see here Mul. Mul is rising from the southern part of the horizon, and these are the Pleiades. The Pleiades. All right. And it is called the weapon of Sharur. Also, they are associated with seven demons, which are helping Mars, Nergal. In the Babylonian mythology, the Pleiades are the seven demons which help Nergal in his job. And the job of Nergal is to kill as many people as he can. And these demons help him. And they are described. And the names of these demons is like the one who kills, the one who hates, the one who is anger. Very, very logical. So in the middle, for the second month, in the middle is Shugi, which is the Perseus. And Liu also is ruling Shugi. And there is Shugi actually means elder, somebody who is like very wise and very old, and who is ruling the city, or because he is very wise, and he's ruling like the whole tribe, or the whole city. This is the meaning of this. But let me tell you one thing about the modern astrology. How messed up are they? Because do you know the name of this constellation in official mainstream astrology is was like, I think, Pingree concocted this name, and he translated this as the old man. Old man. However, when you say old man now, this means something very, very different from elder, right? Old man is somebody, anyone, very old, no power, nothing, freaks, somebody like a freak, without memory. This is old man. But the truth is that this is not the old man, as Pingree translated it. This is the elder. And that's why I am telling you that if you start researching Mesopotamia, Babylonian astrology, everything there, then you must be very, very aware of this kind of things. Very, very aware. And I will definitely recommend to read the Pan-Babylonists. So we have this here. This is the Babylonian astrolabe. And when something on the sky happens, let's say something happens in the first month. So if something happens like solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, meteor shower, anything, then it will affect one of these three divinities. One of these three. So there are different kind of systems to figure out which will be hit, which one of these three. There are different systems, but the most simple one is whether this happens in the first watch, in the second watch, or in the third watch. The day from sunrise to sunset was divided in 3 watches, and the night too. So if it is the first watch, either of the day or of the night, it will be the southern constellation Ashgan, the field. If this is in the middle watch, this will be the middle constellation here, in the middle of the eastern horizon, Dilbat. And if this happens in the third watch, it will be Plow. So imagine, actually there are omina for each of these 36 constellations, and I have translated them in my book, and I will now even read to you what this means. So look here, the constellation field, which field Ashgan. If, for example, solar eclipse happens there, okay, if in Nisan, in the morning, which means the first watch, if in the first month, Nisan, and in the morning, in the first watch, eclipse happens, then the ominous devastation of the land, scattering of the people. So the Pleiades, if it happens in the first month, but in the second watch, then it will be it will be here. Well, the Pleiades will be the second month. So if it happens in the second month, in the second month, but in the first watch, the Pleiades will be drawn for the omen, and the omen is they will be devouring by God in the land for 3 years and 3 months. So it goes. So it goes. And not all omina, even for solar eclipses, are bad. Actually, they are. I think probably there are 36, and from them maybe 4 or 5 are good. So don't be afraid. And this is the eastern horizon, and this is Cassiopeia, rising from the north. Dilbat, which I equate with Beta Andromeda, which is a mirror, the star mirror. And in the southern, Ashgam, the field. So, and this is like again the paths explained, and the months also. This month in the ideal calendar. Here, this point here is the spring equinox, and as you see, the sun moving around and rising in different places on the eastern horizon, and that's how these paths are constructed. So
Oh, I love that. I needed the visuals too. So I'm so glad you pulled it up. That is awesome. I do have somebody who has a question. They've been waiting in the chat, and they really need to know. And I really need to know too. But you had mentioned when we began our talk that Hermes sacrificed 2 cows. Okay. I know. And why? Why 2? Why 2? We both need to know really bad. So.
Yeah. Okay. So this just to finish this up.
Sorry.
Yeah. This here is another graphic of the so-called ideal year. On the right is the horizon here, and this is the whole system with the ideal sections, which are named ideal months. And in the ideal case, in the first section, the spring equinox is in the middle of the month, and also at this time happens the full moon. So the moon appears for the first time after sunset, like a sickle, like a thin kind of sickle. That's how we call it.
Yeah, like a little crescent. Yeah.
Crescent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how every Babylonian month starts. When you see the first crescent after sunset. So this happens here 15 days before the spring equinox, and then it is for 30 kind of days, or 30 degrees actually. This is ideal kind of graphic. 12 kind of sections, each one of 30 degrees. Well, this is the division of the zodiac. So here again, this is in the center is the North Pole. We're watching the North Pole here, and on the right will be the eastern horizon. And here is how they arise here, actually. You see, in the first month, Apin, Dilbat, Ashgan, second month, Anunito in the north, Shugi, the elder in the center, and the Pleiades and Taurus, Mumul in the south. This is the astrolabe in cuneiform. This is one of the first the first kind of parts of the astrolabe, which was found by George Smith in 1874, 5, somewhere there. George Smith, one of the first astrologists. And as you can see here, it is, it was like piece by piece. Like he will find this piece, then after 10 years, another one will find another piece, and then another, and in the end, everything, will come together. So, okay, let's stop sharing. And now, you asked about the cows. Okay.
Yes. We have a few folks that had questions, so hopefully they can get their questions together.
Yeah. The
Cows.
cows.
Yes, going back.
Okay. First, we must ask why 50? Why 50 cows? Why 50?
Yeah.
And what is actually happening here? What is the meaning, the deep meaning of this month, of this myth? And the meaning is that we must look at the principles first. So, who is Hermes actually? Hermes is the mind, the reason, the intelligence, what we call the mental. He is the king of the mental world. He is super wise, super knowledgeable. He is a genius, of course. The king of the mental. He can do so many tricks, so many things. All right, what about Apollo? Well, Apollo is the light of the universe. It is the light, according to Hermes, from the Corpus Hermeticum. If you read Corpus Hermeticum, which is absolutely amazing text, you will read there that according to Hermes, the prophet, because we have Hermes the divinity and we have Hermes the prophet, and according to Hermes the prophet, the sun is the only thing which exists at the same time in the created world and in the divine world. So this is actually the light. So Apollo is the divine world, which is like a divine world, but which is opening itself in the material world, the light. And Hermes is the mental, which is, down, low. And it is actually the mind, the intelligence of the people, and our own mind and intelligence is Hermes, which sometimes, the mind can become so arrogant that he can believe even that he can grasp the divine, that he can understand the divine, that he can manipulate the divine. Like, oh, look, if I do this here ritual, I'll reach nirvana. If I,
Yes, I've done that. I think we all do that to a certain extent. Yeah.
You can buy goggles for nirvana. Okay, you pay $200 and you get some goggles with some kind of noise music, and you reach nirvana. So this is the mind. This is Hermes which is kind of trickling, Hermes, which is sliding down. The arrogant intelligence, which believes that he is the king of everything, which we can see actually in our modern culture. Our modern culture is absolutely one very, very extremely arrogant mind, intelligence.
Yes.
So, mm, okay, now what is happening? Hermes, when he's born, there is description of this myth, and it starts with the birth of Hermes. So when is Hermes being born? On the sky, when Mercury appears as an evening star. And then it is said that in the middle of the day, Hermes is singing hymns to the gods. He is good guy. But then, as the sun approaches the sunset, he starts to think some mischief. And he figures it out. He will steal the cows of Apollo. So the cows of Apollo, they are this connection with between the material world and the divine, which are actually, this is a field of the divine, not of the mind, because these cows, they belong to Apollo, the light, and they are 50. Why 50? Because we must remember how many names has Marduk. Marduk has 50 names. And these cows are actually the names of Marduk. So, the mind thinks that he can appropriate the divine names of God. Well, the mind is so intelligent. He knows so much. He's so knowledgeable. Hey, he can do anything. He can understand anything. The divine, the 50 names, of course, I know them. They are mine. And two cows. Okay, two cows. I know what must be done, but I have not done the research again for the same reason, because I have so many projects running, but I know the way, or at least I believe so. And the way is to look carefully at these 50 names and to see which are the two names which most closely can associate with the mind. Like maybe the all knowledgeable, or we must look at these 50 names. So he appropriates two of them, because every divinity actually is kind of revealed in one or more names of God. Actually, all these divinities, Apollo, Hermes, Aphrodite, Athena, and so on, they are nothing but the names of God in the later mystical traditions. We have 50 for Marduk. We have 100 in the Islamic tradition. We have 108 in India and in Buddhism. We have 72 in the Kabbalah. But every one from the Greek pantheon or from the Babylonian pantheon can be connected with one of these names. For example, Apollo. Who is Apollo? The light. Okay, do we have such a name of God? Of course we have. In the Islamic tradition, God has 100 names, and one of them is the light. Nur, the light. And also in the Bible, they say who is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the light of the cosmos, which is the same as Apollo, the same guy, the light. Okay, Aphrodite, of course, love, of course. We have this in every religion, including Islamic tradition. Udud, Al Udud, in the Islamic 100 names, is the name for the loving one, the one God who loves. Al Udud. What else? Well, Athena, of course. Athena is the most wise, you know. So I guess these two cows are the two names of God of Marduk, which in which Hermes reveals. That's why. That's why he could, he could sacrifice these two cows. Yeah, yeah.
So cool. That is really interesting because it really breaks it down in a more esoteric sense. And we can see how all of this is connected. And all of these systems have been separated or appear to be separated over time. So this has been really like eye-opening for me. Like I love how you've tied together astronomy, mythology, esoteric systems, like it all comes together beautifully the way you explain it all. I'm really like blown away by everything you know. This is so cool. I dug into these myths, but I've never picked them apart the way that you have, the way you've actually dissected them. I've never seen the relationship between the names actually. It makes a lot of sense though when you explain it that way. Like because to the ancients the spoken word was like I mean it was. Oh, I see Abby's coming back. She's having some really, you are just having it, aren't you, over there? Like
I might have messed with my my cable today.
yeah, I would blame the retrograde, but
is there a solar storm? I probably wouldn't bring the retrograde. Is there?
No, I'm just joking with you.
There might be a like a solar issue sometimes. We've been having a lot of solar activity, so that could be it.
Oh, okay. There was one more question here. Now, there was a picture you pulled up and it had the bull and the moon and Aries and in that picture. And the question is the rest of the bull picture on that broken stone of the man and the moon oh yeah, that was basically
the one with the Pleiades.
Yeah,
the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, does he think that the broken part of Taurus was really Aries or it was the whole body of the bull in that stone?
Well, actually, the broken.
Yeah, we've had discussions about Taurus and Aries was like a later addition to the zodiac. So we're kind of we've been having discussions about it, and I think our friend wants some clarification.
Let's see. You mean, okay, this one here? This is come out. Okay, I'll find it. Okay.
I think it's the one to the right of that one.
Yeah. I just want to open this, but it doesn't. Here it is. So,
yes, I believe that was the picture.
That's the one.
Actually, is this Aries or is this Taurus? I cannot be sure from the picture, but this is for Taurus. This is the tablet which is dedicated to Taurus, and this actually could be could be actually not Aries but Taurus here.
It's got the what you call the back, the like the Brahma bulls. It has the big shoulder on the back. It's probably, if I had to guess, I'd say that's probably, it's little on my screen, but I think it's a bull.
Yeah. And here the first Dodecatemoria, as you know, is Taurus, the second Gemini, and each one is 2 degrees and a half, which is like here. So
Yeah, that's definitely a bull. That's definitely,
looks bull shaped.
yeah. I had to check it out too. I was wondering. I was like, oh, is it?
And actually, this myth about Apollo and Hermes, it is playing out in the sky right now, every day. But we are on a different page. For example, this here is the chart of, guess who? Napoleon. A very, very interesting chart, very, very powerful, of course. And look here, he has Apollo, like a Mercury, like a morning star, visible right on the meridian with Saturn. So this is absolutely great combination, and they are this what they call the how they translate this, like bodyguards, like it is Doriforia in Greek, which means the guys who carry spears. So bodyguards. The Doriforia, which is very, very rare. It is very, very rare to find Doriforia, real Doriforia in a chart, because there are many conditions which must be fulfilled. This is from the Hellenistic astrology, but this is part of my computer program, Placidus 8. This is the new version 8. And here you can see which planets are visible, which are not. But let's go. Okay, this is for where he was born. Okay, we can change this. We are interested in the Mercury cycle. So we can go, for example, to now. And we can, okay, the geographical latitude here is 42 north. This is good. Varna is like 43. So, this is, I think Washington, D.C. is somewhere around there, 41, 42, right? So we can keep this, but we can go here for now, right? We go now. And here, as you can see, Mercury will be rising after 2 days. It is written here MF2, which means morning first after 2 days. Okay, but we can see the whole myth, actually, the whole myth happening on the sky. I'll go only to see the evening star of Mercury, and I'll go for the total path. All right, let's see now what is happening. Well, there was no, the last time when Hermes was born, being visible, actually it will become right now morning star, but I want to see when he was. All right, maybe we can go into the future, or in the past. What do you think? Okay, let's go in the past. Or yeah, refresh. This information comes from Porphyrius. Okay, graph. So here we can see, let's see, when was the last time when he was visible as an evening star? Because not in every cycle Mercury can become visible. This depends on the geographical latitude, on the transparency of the atmosphere, on the brightness of Mercury, many factors. But you see here, 8th of June 2025, evening first, EF1. So here is evening first. Mercury appeared on the 8th of June 2025 in the 4th degree of Babylonian Gemini, which is here. You see here. He appeared here in the 4th degree. And then, so he was born here. So then, when he reaches a place which is when he disappears, which was evening class on the 4th of July 2025. This is for this geographical latitude. Never forget this. 42 north. So he disappeared on the 4th of July. In the myth is stated that actually after the sunset, Hermes stole the cows of Apollo. So what does this mean? This means that this corresponds to the time after Mercury disappears as an evening star. The first day of his life corresponds to the appearance of Mercury as an evening star until the disappearance. This is the first day of his life in the myth. And after the sunset, he steals the cow. So this must be from going on from the 4th of July 2025 for this latitude. Then, of course, okay, he disappears. Evening last, you can see here. Evening last is this point here. This point. He disappears here. Then when he is here, he steals the cows. Okay, then he goes to evening station here. He freezes when he is here. And then he goes retrograde until the inferior conjunction. So when he goes retrograde, Apollo learns about this. And he is very angry, of course. So he goes, finds Hermes. But Hermes is Hermes, he denies, he just makes fun of Apollo, basically. He's like telling Apollo, hey, wait, first when he sees Apollo coming to his cave, he is pretending that he is sleeping. Well, Apollo kicks him and wakes him up and say, hey, you little nerd, give me my cow back right now. And he is like opening his eyes and says, oh, what? Apollo in my cave? Well, am I dreaming? What the hell is happening? What are you doing here? Why? And then Apollo said, hey, you little devil, you stole my cows. Give them back to me. And Hermes is telling him, hey, do you want to tell me that a baby 1 day old has stolen the cows of the Apollo? And do you know what will happen when everybody learns about that? So Apollo is getting very, very angry. And then he says, okay, little devil. Okay, you're playing this game, I know what to do. And he takes Hermes straight to Zeus. And this corresponds to the inferior conjunction. when Mercury is conjunct the Sun, and Mercury is between being evening and morning. So all the three divinities are there: Zeus, the Sun; evening Mercury, Hermes; morning Mercury, Apollo. And then Zeus knows everything. Of course, he tells him, "Hey, give him back his cows. Okay, give him back his cows. And now you two, let it be that you two be of one mind, of one consciousness, which is very important because this is the time, not only in the myth but also on the sky, also in this period, also in everybody's life, which means that this light from the divine, which every human has, and the mind become friends, become one. Like the mind no more is so arrogant, like I'm big, I'm great, I know everything, I can do anything. You know, the mind is more humble, and the mind is a friend of the light. And this is also something that the Sufi talk about, this mystical Islamic tradition. They say that in every human there are three principles: God, God, Allah, who is in the heart; then the mind, who is in the head; and then the ego, the nafs in Arabic, nefes in Turkish means ego, which I have not read or have not heard anyone from the Sufi talking or writing where is the ego, but I believe that it is in the tummy.
I'd agree with that.
and they say that usually the mind is slave of the ego. The ego wants that, wants this. The ego is small baby, can't do anything alone. But if the mind is his slave, he can do everything. And the mind organizes things. The ego wants riches, wants many things. So the mind figures out how to find this. Well, the ego doesn't care. Is this aesthetic? Is this legal? Is this illegal? Is this right? Doesn't care. The ego needs this, and that's it. Yeah. And but when the mind sees the beauty of the heart, then the mind becomes something like so kind of overwhelmed by this light and by this beauty, that he becomes friend of the heart. And of course, this is very high, very high level in the Sufi tradition. And this has the same thing happens in every mystical tradition at some level. So this is very fitting for this kind of myth. Yeah. So and then we can actually go on with this myth, because at some point, Hermes gives us a gift to. Let me see. Am I sharing now or not? No,
not yet.
I'm not sure. So Hermes is giving us a gift to Apollo, the lyra, the Alpha lyra, which he made in the morning, and he does this exactly after the meeting with Zeus, when Okay, after the meeting, let me put also the morning star. So after the meeting, actually, they were sitting on a mountain, and Apollo was still had a grudge, was still a little bit angry, and they were sitting there. And in one point, Hermes takes out the lyre, the arpa, and start playing on it and singing. And Apollo is like, what? What the hell is this? This is absolutely amazing, absolutely
Yes.
gorgeous. My God, but he's he's not saying anything. He's keeping cool, but inside he's like absolutely shocked. And then after a while, Hermes gives the lyre to Apollo and tells him, "Hey, dude, this is my gift for you." And then Apollo forgives him everything. He is so happy with this lyre, which actually became his symbol, that he forgives everything to Hermes, and this happens when Apollo is appearing when he is born in the morning first, when Mercury appears visibly to the naked eye as a morning star. This is morning first too, and this happens. Okay, morning first two on the 15th of August 2025, and he is born Apollo, and then there is one in the myth. He's like 4 days old. Apollo is 4 days old when he kills Python or Python, this horrible creature, which is the reason for rotting. Actually, Python. I tell it like with French accent. Python is means somebody who makes things rot. By the way, they actually translate a lot of words, not only in the Akkadian or in Sumerian wrong, even in ancient Greek, because Python doesn't mean what they translate. Basically, they translate it as rotting. Well, this is not rotting. This is someone who causes things to rot. Not something which is rotting. Well, no. Python is not rotting. Python is causing other things to rot, and this is absolute grammar, first year ancient Greek. But
Yeah, that's a translation.
So
people don't realize how much gets lost in the translation.
And so 4 days old, he kills Python, and we can look at this even the exact day when he's doing this. So 15th of August, this will be 19th of August. 15, 16, 17, yeah, this will be 19th of August 2025 for latitude 42. Also, we can think that actually he kills it until the morning elongation, when he's farthest away from the sun, which is they actually happened at almost the same day. One is 18th of August, the other one is 19th of August. So mm, then he disappears behind the sun, and then here is the superior conjunction here happening in the end of Leo, and the superior conjunction is, let's see, 12th of September. This is again Zeus, Apollo, and Hermes are together, but this time Apollo gives his gift to Hermes, and this is the caduceus. They call it Kirkerion. This staff with the two snakes intertwined, right? He gives this as his gift to Hermes. And Zeus is so amused. He's so amused with this little guy, but very, very smart, that he proclaims him for his messenger. And he gives him the power to be able to go anywhere in an instant in the whole universe. Only Hermes can do this. And one more divinity, one more female divinity, which is this divinity? Well, this is very, very special divinity who can also go anywhere in the universe. Only Hermes and her. And this is the invisible moon. The invisible moon is connected with the Hecate, and she also has the same powers to go anywhere. So as you can see, we can look for every particular geographical latitude, the whole myth, and not only this, but also Apollo, when he is born, when he kills Echidna, when is this meeting with Zeus and Hermes, and Hermes makes his litter immediately after he is born, which means like the first days after he appears on the sky. But many times Mercury does not appear at all. He's invisible either as an evening or as a morning or as both. He can make a whole turn around the sun and not become visible, or he can be visible evening but not morning, vice versa, both. So many combinations. Mercury is absolutely kind of tricky. Sometimes Mercury does absolutely crazy things, like he would, for example, appear today. You'll see him for 2-3 days, and then he will disappear. You will not see him for 1-2 days, and then he will appear again. Nobody else does it. Only him. So
I have to tell you, we talk about Greek mythology all the time and how it doesn't make any sense. It seems so random. It's like a weird dream. The myths don't make sense. So the Mesopotamian myths make sense because the Mesopotamian gods are like people. They have personalities. They have families. They have houses. They do, they get drunk. They eat food. They do all those things. But the Greek gods, it don't make sense in just like a normal context. But to hear it, because to be honest, this is the first time I'm hearing anyone talk about actual Greek mythology as it relates to the planets, not using traditional classical astrology, but actually looking at it in relation to like the planetary movements, it actually makes a lot more sense. Like it makes all the sense. It would be great if somebody actually did that. Like that would be so awesome if somebody I mean obviously you just did it, but you know, if more people were aware that that was even an option for them. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you do a lot of talks and you have a lot of education. What is your website for our guests to visit and what is the name of your website so we can get people to order your book and check out your awesome software for calculating?
Yeah, let me show you. I will share the screen again. So it is called BabylonianAstrology.com.
Oh, pretty
And
simple.
that's
Wow,
me here.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, we don't see it. We don't see it.
You wait a minute. I have not. Wait a minute. I have. Okay, again, I must go to the. Okay, where was that? Here. Here. No. Okay. Wait, I must find this. Okay. Okay. Okay.
But you don't gotta pull it up. It's all right. BabylonianAstrology.com. That seems pretty
Yeah.
easy to remember.
Yeah,
And your
I'm just.
software is called Placidus? No. Is that right? What is your software called?
Placidus. Yes, it is called
Okay.
Placidus.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. I just.
Technical difficulties one of those days, eh? I
Yeah,
don't know
you.
what's up with my internet. I hope it's not a
I know,
regular situation because that's frustrating.
Thank God mine was easy to fix today because I couldn't hear anything and it was just my volume button. Thank God.
Yeah. Those are the easier
Those
ones.
are the easy ones. I love the easy ones. It's usually easy. I try to dig into something really complicated before I check the easy stuff. So I got lucky. Got lucky this time.
Elif wants to know, is the latest version ready? Or are you still working on it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. It will be sometimes. It will be some time before it's ready, because right now I am working on another project. I am working on a new book about the Babylonian planetary cycles.
Oh,
nice,
okay. Yeah.
nice.
And you know that every planet has cycles, years, certain years,
Mm-hmm.
and usually in these years manifests the planet what it means in the given chart. You know, like the heliacal the heliacal cycle of Venus, for example, is 8 years. So 8, 16, 24, all these years will be under Venus.
Nice.
Okay, why is this happening? So because I'm still looking. Something happened here, and I lost the screen. I cannot see you actually.
Oh no.
Oh, we're still here. I think.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I hear. I hear you, but the screen with you disappeared. That's amazing.
That one I can't help
Uh,
you with. I don't know.
We
that's
have
amazing.
reached our time limit though today, so we do have to wrap it up. And I want to thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing, incredible information with
Yeah,
all of us. We would actually love to have you back again to talk more sometime. This has been absolutely incredible. I love how you broke down Greek myth to actual astrological correspondences because it's just not popular. It's not taught that way. And I'm in the United States, so things are a little super, I don't know. I think education can get superficial. It can get really glaze over the top of things and not get as deep into the roots of what we're actually studying and looking for, especially in astrology and the star groups and what does it all really mean. So you put so many cool things into context for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like I'm falling down like all these new rabbit holes now.
Actually, Greek mythology is very, very misunderstood. Very much,
I
very
agree.
much. Uh,
I agree. I've
uh,
misunderstood it.
Yeah, for sure.
I've definitely misunderstood Greek mythology.
Agreed.
Yeah, I loved
yeah.
it reading it more like a soap opera than anything else.
Yeah.
It was really
Right.
entertaining to me. I was like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen next?" But now this puts myth into a completely different context, a completely different decoding. Myth is just not something I've been brilliant at. Obviously, that's you're gifted with that, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Kolev, we've already had like a ton of people in the chat ask when we could have you back. So hopefully you'll grace us with your presence again and we can set that up in the chat. I know I will put you on the spot right now. We had kind of talked about it in the email. We would love to have you as a keynote speaker for our annual conference coming up in September. I know it's a little ways out, so hopefully you'd consider maybe joining us for that. But we had an amazing time and we're so very, very grateful. Is there anything else you'd like our guests to know before we wrap things up here?
Oh well, we can do again such session whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, I can, of course, do it. So whenever you're ready, let me know. And I'm
Awesome.
here.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah, for
Thank you
sure.
so much.
Yes,
You blew
absolutely.
my mind today. I'm serious. I've been over here like, because I'm just soaking it all up. This is awesome. I've been following you on social media. I've been following your work. And it's just quite an honor to be able to have you on our podcast to talk about it. And we'll definitely plug all of your stuff in the
Yes.
down below in the video description. We'll have all of your website, all of your information, so people can reach out to you, follow you, and learn from you, because you've done a lot in your career, and this is quite amazing. You're a historian, astronomer, astrologer, mathematician. Really, you covered all the bases, Dr. Koloff. So we're so grateful and so honored that you were able to come and speak with us and educate us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm very glad you liked our conversation. And every July I lead here in Varna, Bulgaria. I lead in-person seminar every July. People come here for a week or 10 days, and we have like 6 days of indoor lectures, and then 3 days watching the sky.
Oh, that's
Watching the sky.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's our future. Our ISAA future. We're planning on doing that as well.
Yeah,
So we'll definitely have
absolutely.
to connect. We'll have to connect
Yeah,
those
yeah.
eventually. Yes, absolutely.
All the information is in my site, Babylonian Astrology .com. So okay,
Awesome.
I'll be very happy to see you again.
Excellent.
All right,
Excellent.
awesome.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners and all of the folks in the live watching and commenting. Thank you so much. And it'll be a pleasure to have you back again.
Yep, absolutely. You guys, everybody, thanks for joining us. We will be back next week with a regular episode of Astrology, Myth, Magic, Mysteries, and more. So we'll see you then.
Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Two stars rose in the dawning light. Nikki and Abigail lies on the night. Charting the heavens, the constellations true. Not bound by illusion, but by what's in view. But they whispered of summer, of gods in the flame, of Banana and Inky who called them by name. Through shadows of dogma, they carry the spark. Guided by starlight to rekindle under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Yeah. Maps redrawn where the cosmos spins through silence and science. Their song begins, no longer chained to the season's disguise. They brought back the truth in the watcher's eyes. The circle was broken, the truth made whole. With courage and reason, they honored the soul. For those who would seek what the ancients knew, the real sky speaks and the stars under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Ancient voices in the heavens turn. As the raw rises where the stars align, restoring the wisdom lost in time. Through cuneiform echoes and lunar signs, through Babylon's gates and forgotten lines, they lifted the veil with a steady hand. To see is reborn to reclaim the land. Under the real sky, the vision's clear. The sidereal call for all to hear. As I rising with radiant mind, truth reborn in the ancient light. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, the truth still burns. Under the real sky, under the real sky,